Dan and Lillian have the most interesting relationship I've ever seen between two scientists. Now, Lillian's not a PhD, she's a registered nurse, but she's been doing research with Dan for many, many years. And really, they do everything together. They are collaborators as well as husband and wife. They write grants together, they write papers together, they collect and interpret data together, they supervise residents and graduate students and postdoctoral fellows together. They really represent a wonderful team.
September 1959, and we didn't know what we wanted to do. We had finished university. She had just finished her nurse's training, and we decided we'd come down here and make the decision of whether we wanted to go to medical school or to the graduate school that was going on here. So I took a position working in one of the laboratories, the laboratory of a very famous person who at that time was chairman of physiology here, Dr. Mason Guest. And I worked in his laboratory, and Lillian actually worked for Dr. Truman Blocker.
But I worked in the operating room as an operating room nurse, and I had just finished nurses school, and so this was my first job out of nurses training, and so I was very excited, and I loved working in the operating room.
She was the scrub nurse for Truman Blocker, and then he liked her so much that he made her first director of the intensive care unit and then director of the operating room. And when we left here in 1965, she was director of the operating room, and I had decided then to go into graduate training. And we left Galveston after being here, I guess, for 6 years. Got my PhD, and we went to Ohio State University. And in case you weren't familiar with the history of the University of Texas Medical Branch, that was a pathway that many people took. The former president of the university, Dr. Chauncey Leak, left here and went to Ohio State, so we were just more or less going along the same pathway. Well, we were there about a year and a half, and we got a call from Galveston that the Shriners Hospital had opened up and had established a position in a research laboratory for anesthesia in the new Shrine Hospital, and they wanted me to come and fill that position. And at the same time, a position had opened in the physiology department because we had expanded the medical school classes. So I came back and taught in physiology, and I guess that we've been here ever since.
Dr. Traber is one of the few whole animal physiologists remaining in the United States. He is an outstanding scientist. He's been working on important clinical issues like shock and respiratory failure and sepsis for many, many years, and has achieved enormous international prestige in those areas.
Dr. Traber taught more than 10,000 medical students, mostly in the UTMB here, and he trained over 100 postdoctoral fellows around the world, and who is actually working around the world, including Asia, Africa, South America, and they are actually the leading scientists or doctors in their field. So I think his achievement is outstanding.
When are you going to retire? And I said, why in the world would you retire when you're doing what you want? If you could do your hobby all of your life, why would you stop doing it?